Welcome to Stewart Boatworks and the latest launch. This particular boat is an Islamorada 24 Morada. It's a very popular day boat for us, and this fellow in particular is a recognized angler, saltwater angler. Actually builds custom reels in the United States with a lifetime guarantee. The company is Siegler Reels out of Virginia, Virginia Beach area. So I'd like to walk you through the boat, just give you an idea of the features and benefits of the 24 Morada. Most of our customers start with a 36-volt trolling motor. This particular one is a Terova. We do some Alteras, basically whatever the customer wants. We can do other brands as well. We come down into the anchor locker, and in the anchor locker we have a very nice connection, high quality connection. You'll be able to see later as to how the wires for the trolling motor are connected without a corrosion point, which is often a problem with trolling motors on the bow. Also, you'll see throughout all the hatches that we use C-deck as a landing surface. Now, we could have gone ahead and gone to a double-sided gel-coated hatch on all the hatches in the boat, but instead we like this C-deck material because it actually helps it land soft and keep it quiet for inshore fishing. So when you're walking on it and or when you're running the boat, the hatches aren't rattling. So they're tight down with the gem lock, but also have a nice cushion because of that C-deck. As we work aft on the casting deck, this compartment here can be many things. Many of our buyers release most of their fish, so that they typically would just get an insulated fish bag to go into this compartment. If they elect to do it in that manner, then they often will go ahead and opt for another storage hatch here, which gives access to another storage compartment below, which otherwise would be inaccessible. If they do choose to have this as an insulated fish box, because they tend to keep more fish, you can order the boat with this entirely insulated. You would not have that hatch any longer, and the drains would go directly out the bottom of the boat. Moving further back, you come to the rod lockers. Rod lockers are an interesting subject that I often talk about at great length, but I'll keep it to a brief presentation here. These rod lockers are capable of holding rods up to 8.5 feet long. They are put in a channel area that can be customized for your rods, whatever type bracket you want to hold for the rods. A lot of our anglers, simply because it is, the base is covered in C-deck, a lot of our anglers and owners will just go ahead and lay their rods in here. So it's an either-or situation, whatever you prefer. But the cool thing is, because of the shape of the hatch, these rods would no problem go in and out. A lot of boats, the rod storage looks pretty cool. They've dedicated a lot of time to it, but then ergonomically, they never really planned it right, and you can't get the rods in and out of a lot of other rod lockers. It's a funny thing, but I've seen that through the industry over the years. Look cool, don't really function. Another locker is in the cockpit sole here. In this compartment, there's areas for storage of any nature, life jackets, things of the sort. Some of our customers opt to have a total of 6 batteries to operate the boat. They really want to have XX batteries. If so, 3 of them are installed here along with a charger just for the trolling motor. Moving on to the console, speaking of batteries and chargers, we have a Dutch door or 2-piece door, so it allows you access if you just want to get into the battery switches. The boat comes standard with what's missing here is a 65 Yeti cooler with a custom cushion that matches it and a cushion that goes on this cushion here on the front of the console door. But if you had the Yeti in place, in and out just through the top half, get to the battery switches. So that's the concept there. If you go completely open with the cooler out of the way, you can see the battery storage. On this boat, he's opted for 4 batteries to operate the whole boat, 3 for the trolling motor and one gets teed off for the house battery and a starting battery. Also, all these boats are uniquely wired with C-zone digital switching as opposed to old school analog wiring. What this digital switching provides you is the ability to have multi-functions through one switch, and it also cuts down on the amount of wiring throughout the boat. On this boat, it's probably about 70, 80 pounds of just wire that's been eliminated in the boat because of the C-zone system. Some people are concerned that it's digital, and what if you were on the water and have a problem? If you do have a problem, all you do is remove this panel here, or any one, they're all labeled. You remove that, remove the little rubber boot, and then inside there's a fuse. You simply remove the fuse, switch it over 1 inch, plug it back in, and now that item is operating on an analog system. So it's completely back to old school norm, if you will, at that point. So total redundancy, although I can tell you from all the boats, we've been doing this for several years now, and we've had very, very, very few C-zone issues at all. So that's your C-zone system. In addition to that, depending on the boat, of course, these are semi-custom factory direct, so you can have the boat built the way you want it for your application. On this particular boat, we have the JL Audio amplifier in here for the 4 speakers that this particular boat has. You can have another amp in here. You can actually even upgrade these batteries to the next size, to a 31. So the variety is endless of what you want to do with your particular boat. So the console, very unique. You can have this console with no windshield. You can have it with a low profile 6-inch windshield, or with this 12-inch windshield as an example. He opted for the 12-inch. Electronics, again, because we're semi-custom, you can choose what brand you want. This happens to be Simrad, very popular for us. Simrad VHF. We can do 2 12-inch screens. Endless variety here. Of course, the boat is also available with a very attractive fiberglass hardtop. This particular owner chose not to because of his fly fishing, interests, to give as much clearance as possible. Glove box optional. Here's your C-zone digital switching panel. With the proper connection, you can actually operate anything on the switch panel here, as well as on the screen here, if you choose to. It's not necessary, but that's a choice you do have. The other common things, Lenco trim tabs with indicators, of course, your power pole controls, your jack plate, which is standard on the boat, jack plate controls under the helm, tilt helm, which is standard, kind of an upscale Italian steering wheel that this particular customer wanted. Glove box, handy glove box. This latch here, well, you have your glove box storage, and this hatch here actually provides access to opening below, and below you get to more amplifiers. If there are those on board, you also get to the power steering pump, and some more of the wiring. That's typically more of a service door than something that an owner would need to get in there on a regular basis. Standard, if you don't get a hard top, rod holders on the side, you can either go with none, you can go with a group of 3, group of 4, or group of 5 for either side or both sides. So you can really build the boat the way you want the boat. Under gunnel rod storage here, as you can see, they easily accept 9-foot fly rods. So you have 6, 3 on either side, gives you 6 here. You have 4 on either side in the rod lockers. So the numbers start adding up. There's 8 rod holders in the gunnel, standard. These are the hidden hardware screwed on from the underside. So you have 4 aft and 4 forward, which are standard. The leaning post fixed backrest leaning post is also a standard item. It comes with 4 rod holders, 2 cup holders, a little rigging tray, storage beneath the cushion, spot underneath for a 65 quart Yeti, so that would match the same Yeti that you come standard forward of the console. So I mean, you get into a lot of serious number of rod holders here, obviously, because that's what this boat is, truly a hardcore fish boat. Compartments aft. This compartment looks massive. I've actually had customers that tell me that I'm wrong in my calculation because it looks so big, but that is a 30-gallon compartment. It comes standard as a compartment, but it can be plumbed to be a live well, can be plumbed to be a release well. You can have bubblers in there, whatever you so choose. On this particular boat, because he fly fishes so much, he opted just to leave it as a storage compartment. Could be extra insulated if you chose, and you can make that a fish box as well. So there's a bunch of options here. Make the boat the way you want it. On the starboard side, he did opt to have it plumbed to be a live well. So now he has 30 gallons live bait. That could have been another 30 gallons. So that'd be 60, and then the standard live well is also 30 gallons. So you could have a total of 90 gallons of live bait if that's what you so chose to do with the boat. And then lastly, as far as hatches are concerned, just awesome bilge access. Really, really a big feature on this boat. Get down to all the seacocks, the pumps, without having to truly stand on your head. There's nothing that requires you to be a skinny little dude. Anybody can get in there, throw the seacocks, change the pumps, get the float switches. 2 bilge pumps are standard, and we use stainless steel through hulls, which is a little unusual in the industry, but that's the quality of the boat that we're building. Saltwater washdown pump here, freshwater washdown pump if you so chose to have one, and so forth. And you can get right to it. With latches locked down so it's secure out of the way. And we go further aft, you go to the jack plate, which is standard. Currently using a Bob's jack plate. We have used other brands based on customer request. Power poles, the boat comes standard with 1 8-foot power pole with a bracket coming off of the jack plate. Now you can opt, like in this case, for 2. These are 8 foot. You can also opt for 10 foot. You can also put on, talons if you're interested in a Minn-coated talon. So what you want, we'll make it happen. Then lastly on the stern is a swim platform and ladder. It's a telescopic 3-step fold-out stainless steel derelict ladder. You can have it either that way, or you could actually have the type ladder that slides and recesses into the hull itself. That's, again, your choice, or no ladder, of course. So one last thing before we leave the cockpit. This boat, I guess we got a little ahead of ourselves. It doesn't have the stern seat option here being shown, but you can see the track for the port side cushion, center cushion, and starboard cushion. And then these aluminum mounts, it's where the backrest arms come up, aluminum mounts, they screw down into place. And there's a nice backrest cushion that's actually ergonomically correct, so it's a very comfortable spot to sit and run, especially for long distances. Some of the other things that, jump around, there's a lot to show, but like we put in Yeti cup holders as an option if somebody chooses. Saltwater washdown, freshwater washdown outlets can go where you desire them. We have one here. This is where this gentleman wanted it. But you certainly could also put one here underneath the fly reel, mounted in that area. Your choice. JL audio stereo, I don't know if I overlooked that. I mentioned the amplifiers, but we do quite substantial, as you can see, with the JL audio, sport grill, classic grill, whatever, or another brand, whatever brand, but we do mostly JL. So at this point, we're gonna hop out of the boat and we can talk a little bit about the bottom and the running surface. So now that we're out of the boat, we'll talk about the hull, because the hull is what really this boat is all about. differentiates our bay boat, the Islamorada, from the other bay boats in the industry. This boat has a 20-degree dead rise at the stern. Now, most of the other manufacturers of bay boats typically have a 12, 14, I've seen a few maybe 16-degree dead rise, but none 20. You combine that with the sharp entry forward, and this boat is by far the smoothest riding 24-foot bay boat you'll experience, and you have to experience it. Every manufacturer tells you theirs is the best riding. We firmly believe it, and it really is a result of that 20-degree dead rise. It was intentional that this boat rode very, very well in rough water. Now, to point out a few other things about the boat, this particular boat, all the boats have the recessed Lenco trim tabs as standard. This gentleman chose to have a side scanner on the Simrad. So he has a traditional through-hole transducer in the bilge, but also a side scan deucer on the transom. He opted for underwater lights. We use the Sea Blaze underwater light. So that combination, just in summary, we have CSON digital switching for the electrical system. We have the deepest dead rise of any of the bay boats on the industry, but we still keep a 15-degree draft of the hull only. So it's not a trade-off situation, it's a remarkable combination. And then lastly, something we will do another video later is we do resin infusion. We're foremost in resin infusion. So the hull and the stringers are infused all at one time. We don't do the hull and then come back and glue the stringers in, which some builders do when they infuse. So it's a one-process stringer hull infusion, and then we infuse the deck as a separate unit, and then they're bonded together. And this boat runs through the water because of that dead rise, runs through the water very quietly, super soft, no flex, no rattle, and you need to experience it to believe it. It's the foremost in the industry. So if you get a chance, we are going to do a video about infusion pretty shortly, but if you do get a chance, we welcome you to come here to Stuart, Florida. We'd love to show you how we build the boats firsthand and give you a ride in one of the Islamorada 24 Moradas.